Hello, and welcome to another edition of UFile Let's Talk Tax, where we teach you to be more efficient with your taxes. My name is Jerry Vitoratos, National Tax Specialist at UFile, and today we have gone into your requests and have created this video entitled 4 Basic Conditions in Order to Claim the Principal Residence Exemption. Before getting into the conditions of claiming the principal residence exemption, let's understand what the concept is. The principal residence exemption, very simply put, is you being able to exempt from taxation any profit that you make from the sale of your principal residence, meaning your personal home. Condition number 1. The sale is related to a disposition of what the CRA considers a housing unit. Now, what does the CRA consider as a housing unit? I'll read it directly from the CRA website. A housing unit could include a house, an apartment or unit in a duplex, apartment building or condominium, a cottage, a mobile home, a trailer, or a houseboat. Condition number 2, you own the property throughout the years that you are designating the property as a principal residence. So we're going to see later on that we need to designate the property for all the years that we owned it in order to be able to claim the principal residence exemption. The key here, of course, is that you had to be the owner of that property during that period. Condition number 3, you or someone related to you ordinarily inhabited the property. Now, what does a CRA mean by ordinarily inhabited? Unfortunately, the Income Tax Act does not specify what that term means. However, by going through government documents and by going through past court cases, the government sets the limit of ordinarily inhabited as having lived in the property for at least a 24-hour period. So what this means is that even a secondary residence that you own can be eligible for the principal residence exemption. I also mentioned that someone related to you can reside in the property and still be considered a principal residence for you. Now, what does a CRA consider as someone related to you for the purposes of the principal residence? These individuals include your spouse or your children. So, for example, if your child resides in a secondary home that you own, and it is their principal residence in this case, you can still designate that property as a principal residence, even though you personally do not reside in that property. Condition number 4, you must designate the property that you're selling as a principal residence through the appropriate forms. So to exempt the sale of the property under the principal residence exemption, you must complete the appropriate forms and designate all the years that you own the property as a principal residence. Now, the appropriate form in this case is the T2091 on the federal side, and for those of you who are in Quebec, you must also produce the TP274 forms. These forms have to be included with your tax return when you submit it to the CRA, and for those of you who are in Quebec, to Revenue Quebec. The forms have to be filed by the deadline of your tax return. Failure to do so will incur penalties by the CRA, and for those of you who are in Quebec, by Revenue Quebec as well. I mentioned earlier that a secondary home or secondary residence can also be eligible for the principal residence exemption, meaning that you could simultaneously own 2 properties that are eligible for the principal residence exemption. However, when it comes to designating these properties for the exemption, you can only designate 1 property per year for the principal residence exemption, meaning that if you sell 1 home and you've designated the years that you've owned it as a principal residence, and then you sell the second home later on, and you have simultaneous years between the two, the moment you designate the first property as a principal residence for those years, you can no longer use those years to designate the second property as a principal residence. We hope you enjoyed this video and gave you a better understanding of how the principal residence exemption works. So as I mentioned in the introduction, this was a request from you. So we would like to get more requests from you. We're looking again for ideas. So any ideas for any future videos you would like to see, please do not hesitate to write in the comments. And please like and subscribe this video in order to get notifications for any future videos that we're about to produce. In the description below, we've also included a link to an instructional video that shows you how to designate a principal residence within UFile. Thank you for watching.